All right, now to discuss this further, the war in Israel and between Israel and Hamas, we're going to bring in international spokesman for the Gush Etzion Regional Council, Josh Hasten, as well as former IDF Staff Sergeant Johnny Daniels. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Hamas released 24 hostages, the first group, 17 yesterday, and that leaves 9 hostages left to be released in this agreement. Can you expect that the rest of this exchange is going to go smoothly, considering the snags that we had yesterday?
Well, we're expecting 13 hostages to be released today, potentially even 14. There's a lot of movement now regarding a potential hostage of Russian origin that may be released as well. I think what we're seeing and the snag that we saw yesterday is kind of typical of what we expected here. We're dealing with not rational people. We're dealing with an evil force against us. So in terms of making any kind of deal or any kind of understanding, this is to be expected. And we're actually, hopefully today it will be on time. The Qataris are here on ground. The Egyptians are pushing forward as well. So hopefully today we do see a little bit more movement.
Josh, just to go into it a little bit more, that second exchange was delayed after Hamas accused Israel of, I guess we have a little background noise there, accused Israel of not complying with the ceasefire terms, saying they were, I guess, delaying the pace of aid coming into Gaza. Listen just very quickly to what Hamas spokesperson had to say on the issue.
We believe that the Israelis till now, they are not responding in the right and the positive way to what was achieved, like allowing the trucks of aid to reach the northern part of Gaza. Out of 200 trucks, we did not reach till now 70 trucks.
So are these legitimate concerns from Hamas, or is it typical, game playing by, unscrupulous individuals?
Yeah, it's absolutely the latter. It's psychological warfare. I mean, you're talking about somebody who's a spokesperson for an organization that murdered 1,200 Israelis on October the 7th, burned babies alive, raped, mutilated women, dragged bodies through the streets. So you can't take anything that man says seriously. Israel is upholding every end of what it agreed to do. And my concern right now is, of course, for the hostages, they should come home safe and sound. But once this ceasefire is over in another day or two, Israel must immediately restart the campaign to demolish Hamas entirely, both for the sake of the state of Israel and for the sake of humanity, for the sake of the Western world. Hamas must go once and for all. Enough is enough. And, Israel is referred to as the little Satan. People should know, your audience should know, the United States is referred to as the big Satan by groups like Hamas, Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, and all the rest. ISIS, of course, Hamas is ISIS. So that is the concern. Let's get our hostages back, and let's take care of business. Let's finish Hamas once and for all.
Johnny, Josh just spoke then about and outlined the intentions of this operation to eliminate Hamas, but it's also to get back the hostages, of course. And Bibi Netanyahu has said that after this temporary ceasefire, which is meant to be over tomorrow, that Israel is interested in continuing this ceasefire in order to get back the hostages under this current deal. Do you see Hamas agreeing to this and this ceasefire being extended?
I do, to be honest, and I think because it just basically plays into their interest. The longer the ceasefire lasts, from their perspective, the more time they have to get better prepared on ground, to move more weapon systems into different places. We were very solid and in a good place in terms of cutting Hamas from each other. We basically turned them into different groups fighting each other and fighting us internally inside of ground. So basically, this gives them a chance to reunite, recollaborate, and be put in a position where they can, in their opinion, fight us better. Not that that matters very much. Our army is far superior, and we will crush them regardless. But that's why we'll probably see the continuation of a hostage release for another couple of days after that.
And Josh, let me ask you, Gush Etzion is in the West Bank. So tell me a little bit about your experience there and the heightened tensions, conflicts. How has this war affected the West Bank?
Well, what you refer to as the West Bank, of course, I use the term Judea and Samaria. But, you have right now a situation, especially now during the so-called ceasefire, where you do have some media outlets are trying to turn their attention to what's going on in Gush Etzion and Judea and Samaria, false claims of what they call settler violence, which are completely unsubstantiated. That's really what, unfortunately, what a lot of the mainstream media is trying to do. But things are overall quiet here. The IDF has gone into several villages and killed, thank God, killed other terrorists. You're talking about ticking time bombs, those who are on their way to carry out attacks. So those operations continue on a daily basis. And that's really the difference between Judea and Samaria and Gaza. Whereas Gaza, Israel did not have any sort of civilian or military presence since 2005. The IDF in this area, thank God, has the ability to go into these villages to take care of the terrorists on a nightly basis. And we also saw images in Tulkarm where Hamas, people say Hamas doesn't exist in this part of the country. That's absolutely not true. Hamas murdered 2 of their own yesterday, brutally murdered 2 of their own, accused them of being collaborators with Israel, dragged their bodies through the streets, and yet the United Nations and all the other phony human rights organizations were silent because it was Arabs killing other Arabs, Hamas killing 2 of their own, and the Jews, Israel had nothing to do with it. So it did not make international headlines, but I saw the brutal clips there from, I think it was in Jenin, of Hamas killing 2 of their own without trial, just dragging their bodies through the streets, murdering them, and then hanging them for all people to see, including little children. So that's really what the society we're dealing with, Hamas, whether it's in Gaza, whether it's in Judea and Samaria. And again, like I said before, Hamas be eliminated wherever they are.
Right. No, I mean, you have to keep the context that you're dealing with they're not criminals, they're terrorists, which is a different level. But Josh Hasten, Johnny Daniels, thank you very, very much. We appreciate you being on this morning.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.